Hello everyone, my name is Lacey, this is Sekhmet, and you are watching Reptiles. So today, Sekhmet and I would like to tell you about a snake that is commonly found in the eastern and southern United States. And that snake is not the sand boa, but it is the copperhead. The copperhead is native to, as I said, eastern United States, southern United States, basically from like Georgia to Texas to Massachusetts. It is everywhere in the east and the south. They are a heavy-bodied pit viper, so they are venomous, as we know. They get, as adults, they get to be about 24 to 36 inches in length, something like that. And many people who have stories of copperheads will tell you that copperheads will chase you, they'll run you down and take you out, much like this terrifying sand boa. That is not true. Copperheads do not chase you. When they get startled, they're not chasing you to kill you. They are looking for the easiest route the easiest way to escape, because you're scary and they're scared. And from down on the floor, on the ground, they're looking for the easiest way to get away from you. And sometimes they might, the easiest place for them to hide might be on the other side of you. So they're not chasing you, they're looking for the best place to hide, and sometimes that's behind you. So they're just trying to get away from you to the best place where they can feel secure and safe. So they're not chasing you, they're just trying to find a hiding spot that might be conveniently located behind you. So there's that. Before looking into this, I didn't realize that there were 5 species, or subspecies, 5 types of copperhead. There is the one with the widest range, which is the northern copperhead, and that's like your typical, you see it and you're like, that's a copperhead. I mean, they all kind of look very similar, but the northern is like the universal copperhead. So they have like kind of a patternless head. They are kind of like a chestnut brown to coppery kind of colored in the body. And they have these hourglass shaped bands down their body. That's a copperhead. But that's like your stereotypical. The northern is like your typical, like, this is a copperhead. Southern copperheads, very similar. I think they might just be like a little bit lighter in color than the northerns. I think that's the difference. There's also, and this one I think is being debated right now, the Osage copperhead, which is kind of my area of the United States. So Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Missouri. That's the area of the alleged Osage copperhead. The argument is that it might actually just be a variation on the northern copperhead. So that one's up for debate. There's also the broad-banded copperhead. And this one, there is like a real big difference you can tell. Instead of having the hourglass-shaped bands down its body, it has a darker colored banding, or down their body. So it's not an hourglass, it's a big band. And those are kind of Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, that kind of area. And then there's the final one is called the Trans-Pecos copperhead. This one is typically Texas down into Mexico, and it's very similar to the broad-banded copperhead in its look. But those are the 5 types of copperhead, which kind of neat. I didn't realize that there were so many. Because in my mind, I thought copperhead's just copperhead doing copperhead stuff, looking all cute and chasing people, before you ever look into it. I love them. They're cool. When copperheads are born, they are born live. So the mom will have like eggs and stuff in her body, but the babies will hatch out of the eggs within her body, and then they're born alive. When they're born, they're more grayish in color. They'll have a bright yellow tail. When they are babies, they can use this yellow tail, as a caudal lure to try to lure in little critters for it to eat, smaller critters that it can eat. Copperheads can eat rodents, they can eat lizards, birds, smaller snakes, amphibians. They're not super picky. As long as they can eat it, they'll eat it. And something that I think is really cool, the first time I can recall seeing a copperhead was in a place that we don't find copperheads, which was in Minnesota. Of all places, there was a copperhead. And let me tell you, I was taking a different route home. I was taking a scenic route home through a state park, and it was just down the hill from our house, really. And I was driving, and there was a kind of a big, kind of orange-looking snake, and I was very confused because I'm like, that is not a rattlesnake. That is something different. So I get out of the car. I stop. I get out of the car and I start walking towards it. It's not moving. It's on the side of the road. It's hanging out. It's alive. It's alive, come to find out. And I'm kind of walking over to kind of get a good look at it. And I'm like, I think it looked like a copperhead. It had the right color. It had the hourglass banding down the body. And it was just chilling, which was so weird. And I get closer and she looks at me, and she's looking a little thick around that lower third of her body. And it was late spring, and copperheads will usually have their babies in late spring. And she was looking a little thick around the bottom, and she was near the bluff. So I'm like, well, maybe she's looking for a place to pop her babies out, because there's a bluff and then there's like wetland in this area, and the road is right in between the two. And I get up and she kind of looks at me and she kind of raises her head up a little bit. And I'm like, okay, I'm leaving. I'm not messing with this snake. I am leaving. And I did. And I was very confused because I know we don't have copperheads in Minnesota. I know that. So I think my dad was out of town. So I called my grandpa. And I called grandpa and I said, hey, grandpa. I explained what had just happened. I'm like, I think it's a copperhead. And he said, oh, yeah, probably so. Because sometimes copperheads, because we also lived, important to know, we lived right like a mile from the Mississippi. But grandpa was telling me that sometimes copperheads, or snakes that are more commonly found in the southern United States, will find their way onto one of the barges that goes up and down the river, because there's a lot of grain in those, and rats and mice will get on the barge, and the snakes are going to go where the rats and the mice are. So these copperheads will every now and again find their way onto a barge, eat their fill, and by the time the barge gets to Minnesota, sometimes they find their way off. Because the barges only run in the nice summer, spring, fall, when it's not winter, the snakes can survive the season. They don't make it through winter. Copperheads are not designed for a Minnesota winter. So it's very sad, but that snake I saw almost certainly died in the winter later that year. Very sad. But they can't survive in Minnesota because the winters exist. But apparently, that can happen sometimes, is that a snake will get on in Louisiana or Arkansas, and they'll ride the barge up, get off in Minnesota, and for a spring and a summer and a fall, there will randomly be copperheads every now and again, which is kind of neat. And my grandpa said, yeah, let me know where that copperhead was. Okay, I'm not going to go over there. Grandpa was afraid of snakes, but he was cool about his fear of snakes. He was kind of afraid of them, but he wouldn't. Every time I saw him interact with the snake, he didn't kill him. He just relocated him. I've never seen him kill a snake, and he's relocated snakes with sticks, and just be like, all right, snake, on your way. And I'll be like, Grandpa, are you afraid of snakes? He's like, oh, I'm terrified. He's like, but they're not bothering me. They're just doing their job and eating rodents. But yeah, so you can, every now and again in Minnesota, you can find a copperhead. Snakes are crazy like that. I feel like I was going somewhere with that story, but somewhere along the way, I forgot where I was going with it. But I think it's a really cool story about, snakes just following the food and ending up in a region that they do not belong. Copperheads, since they are pit vipers, their venom is hemotoxic. And as we've discussed previously, that hemotoxic venom will destroy your red blood cells and make you bleed a lot. So you probably won't die from a copperhead bite. You'll have a bad time. So definitely if you get bit by a copperhead, go to the hospital, because that's always a good choice. If you get bitten by any sort of wild animal, go to the ER, go to the urgent care. always a good call. And yeah, if you find yourself in the wilderness exploring in any of the range areas where the copperhead is found, if you see one, leave it alone. If you leave it alone, it'll leave you alone, and we'll all have a wonderful day. Later this month, my friend Sam and I, we're gonna head over to the Snake Road over in southern Illinois, and hopefully we'll see a copperhead, which would be really cool. If you want to see that, keep an eye out, hit the bell, and you'll be notified whenever that video comes up. So we should hopefully be seeing a my goals, my things I would like to see: rattlesnake, copperhead, water moccasin, banded water snake, various turtles. That's kind of what I want to see. Those are the critters I would like to find. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. If you like that video, let me know. I feel like I was a little scatterbrained today, but someone was being very active and taking half my attention. But she's so pretty. Look at her. What a little queen. The other two snakes are eating. Well, not eating. They're digesting. They both ate the other day. John Cena and Lieutenant Dan. They both ate the other day. So they're happy and fat. She ate the week before, so she's good. She's chilling. But if you like that video, let me know. Leave a comment below. Have you ever seen a copperhead in the wild? How do you feel about copperheads? Did you know that there were 5 types? And did you know that they can be migrant and like jump on a barge and like ride up to Minnesota for their last summer of life? Let me know. Yeah. Say hi to Sekhmet. She likes your comments. She likes reading them and saying hello to you. And that's it. Never stop learning, because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. See ya. Sorry, I feel like I'm very distracted today because someone is very active. Someone is very active today. Look at her.